Well, this down economy putting a lot of pressure on small business owners. Now, more local governments are considering mandating paid sick leave for employees as the number of small businesses that do drop. Our panel is here to weigh in. Elisabeth Meinecke is the deputy managing editor of Town Hall magazine. Larry Winget is the best-selling author of Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life. I just love saying that. And Amelia Antonetti is the CEO of AMA Productions. Amelia, we picked this story for you. So what do you say?
Yeah, well, again, I keep figuring out what is our objective here, because if it's to create jobs and to be able to grow, here in the U.S., and now you're putting something else on me, I barely have any margins as it is. So I get what they're trying to make their point, saying, well, we need to be able to stay home with our kids and so on and so forth. All about that, but I can very easily just cut an employee to try to compensate for the $25,000 it's going to take me, or I can just go to 1099, which means you're not going to get any benefits. So I think it needs to be a group decision for company by company. I don't think you need to mandate me to what to do. How about we decide as a company what's best for the company, which we already do.
So, Larry, do the small businesses need more rules on their backs?
That's the last thing any business, especially small business, needs, is more regulation. Anything that costs them money or productivity is a bad idea. Listen, and I know one of the things that they talk about is the abuse of sick leave. Sick leave has always been abused. It's being abused now, and it's probably going to be abused more in the future, which is a big concern since we're now actually seemingly encouraging people to become more entitled, and most folks look at sick leave as just more paid vacation. It's a bad idea.
Wow, that's an interesting response. Elisabeth, what do you say?
I completely agree that you let the individual businesses decide. I mean, even across these different governments, they can't agree on what's fair, what's not. In Connecticut, for example, you don't get any paid sick leave if you have 50 employees or under, whereas in Seattle, if you have between 5 and 49 employees, you get 5 paid days of sick leave. So it's definitely something where you need to let the marketplace decide. You need to let the companies decide what policy is best for them. And then you need to let the workers decide if they want to be a part of that company or policy, or if they want to look somewhere else.
All right, latest polls show the majority of Americans disapprove of Obamacare, but one filmmaker is taking his criticism to a whole new level. The ad originally posted by the blog Blue Virginia says Barack Obama wants politicians and bureaucrats to control America's entire medical system. And then the ad says this: go to hell, Barack. Elisabeth, did they go too far?
I mean, I completely agree. I know there's a congressman that was upset about it, that it's disrespectful, but at the same time, you can't mandate, respect for the presidency of the United States. It's a matter of individual responsibility. I think that, there's right to express outrage, and again, I'd have to say you let the marketplace decide, because the person that's going to suffer is the company. They're going to experience the backlash of people not wanting to buy their product.
It is free speech, Amelia, but somebody, I just think it's in bad taste.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, again, you cannot be a fan of it, but I find it interesting that we're talking about this article, but when we did the Miss Me Yet, which was, done with the comedy Photoshop one, and the one, Little Brother Watching, which was about Bush, we got a little bit, but not really. So, I mean, are we judging a sign to a sign here, or are we just saying, well, it's not fair right now because it happens to be, over somebody right now who's making history versus the term before the term before?
Well, Larry, I mean, does that argument make sense to you? Because, look, George W. Bush got bashed, and really hard, and in some really awful ways. Is this any different?
Oh, I'm not sure it's a lot different. I do find this in bad taste and incredibly disrespectful. If the ad had said, Mr. President, your health care plan sucks, I could have been all in favor of that. But to call him by his first name and to use those words, that's disrespectful to the office of the presidency.
Well, and look, George W. Bush, when he was in office, they made pictures of him dressed as a Nazi. I mean, they did all kinds of awful things. So I don't see this as hugely different. I don't like either of them. All right, moving on. Move over. Cesar Millan, there's a new whisperer in town. Virgin Atlantic, that is hiring a whispering coach for the flight crew to make sure they don't disturb the high-paying customers on board. Larry, do you like the flight whisperer?
I think anything that supports the idea people should be quieter is a good idea. If they can just if they can get to the pilot, so the pilot's not screaming tour guide information over the overheads, I'm all for it. Most of them sound like they're leading the jungle ride at Disneyland.
Amelia.
I mean, I'm on again, a couple times a week I'm on a flight. So if I can guarantee that my little section is going to remain quiet, and you can remember this is also a $9,500 ticket price. Those people are not kidding when they say they want to sleep on the way home. I think it's a brilliant idea that he's going to do it. He's going to do it well, as he always does, and he's going to offer an option, and it's either going to sell or it's not going to sell.
Elizabeth, I wonder if this whisperer could talk to my husband, maybe. This could apply in a lot of different settings,
Exactly. Why aren't they teaching this talent in preschool and kindergarten?
Right.
I mean, I want it all the way through to a noisy classroom. Points for creativity to them, and hopefully it works, and hopefully it starts a trend with other airlines.
All right, guys, great job. Elizabeth, Larry, and Amelia, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.